The London-based investment bank Exotic Capital issued a report that forecasts a moderate pickup in economic growth projection for Mauritius on the back of large-scale infrastructure project pipeline, with a attendant boost to the banking sector loan growth. Earlier this week, Channel's business editor Bosun Omofayo caught up with the CEO of the Mauritius Commercial Bank, Alain Lomain, at the 2018 edition of the African CEO Forum in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The MCB chief says the lender controls the lion's share of Mauritius' financial services sector, with heavy credit lines into trade financing and even more.
Well, we're already doing quite a bit of trade, especially in the trade finance field, where we're doing trade for commodity trading, oil trading, for example, which is quite a big chunk of our activity today. And that's structured. That's very structured. It's done with a normal governance and normal due diligence and normal structuring. So that works very well. But that's for the upper end of the trade activity. What we need to do is enable the lower part of the trade, or the middle part, which is finding it difficult to trade between the countries. But definitely we are in that space. Mauritius somehow is a hub, and we've been used to trading. We don't have our own natural resources, so everything that we do, we import, we add value, and then we export. So yes, trade is part of our DNA. So would like to be able to do more of it.
But the banking system in a country such as Mauritius is very key to this trade flow across into Mauritius and moving out, including logistics and all of that. How much of that is happening? How much do you think the banking sector is contributing to the existing trade size that Mauritius is carrying out?
Well, Mauritius, as you know, it's increasingly becoming a platform for a lot of companies that use Mauritius to house its headquarters, and from Mauritius doing the transactions, importing, exporting, or even the operations happening locally, and then dividends being upstream to the holding company. So I think all in that space is business that needs to be taken, and MCB we play already a very strong role in that, in terms of the flow of funds that comes to us, in terms of its treasury management, in terms of its cash flow management, and in terms of how we can help those companies to be more effective in funding their operations.
So how much of that contributes actually to your top line when you look at the bank's balance sheet?
We have 45% market share in Mauritius, so a good half, 50% of our activities is local. It's rupee based, it's local. The other 50% is now foreign exchange. Transactions we're doing, like the trade finance activities we've just been talking about. As a rough guess, it will be around 20-25% will be the top line contribution today, and it keeps increasing. The local trade, the local business is obviously mature, and what we see growing is that the transactions we start doing between the various countries around the continent.
If you have that much of the market share and that in trade, that means you have to extend a lot of credit to businesses in Mauritius and other countries coming into Mauritius to do business. So that means your loan book will be very big. How huge is it?
Well, today we have a loan book of approximately 160 billion rupees, which in dollar terms is around $5 billion. So yes, it's been static for a while because, as I said before, most of it was rupee based, and unfortunately, in the current context, the rupee loan book hasn't been progressing as fast. But recently, we've seen quite good growth in the foreign exchange loan book, which is mostly driven by lending to traders around the trade finance, the business that we're doing with in energy and commodities.
What is the general state of the banking system in Mauritius at the moment?
I think we are very lucky to have a very solid banking system. In fact, we've got a strong regulator, we've got a strong regulatory framework, and we comply with most of the Basel requirements. In fact, we are Basel free, nearly Basel free compliant in terms of the requirements for our banking sector. Plus, we've got the guidelines that Bank of Mauritius issues on a regular basis to make sure that we respect be it the capital ratios, be it the liquidity ratios, to make sure that we lend properly, that we respect the provisioning guidelines set up. So I think a strong economy needs a strong banking sector. So in terms of capital adequacy, today we are at 17% for MCB group, which is quite high. So we've got absorption capacity should there be any external shocks. But we keep improving the regulatory framework, which central bank is very keen on, and we obviously are compliant to those regulatory requirements. So yes, it's important to have a strong banking environment, and I must say for the moment it's and hopefully for the years to come we'll continue to progress. Let's face it, at the end of the day, banks will need more and more capital when you look at what the current environment looks like. So we're very much into that mindset in terms of making sure we are well capitalized and have the right liquidity to meet any crisis and to make sure operations flow smoothly.
Your bank almost every year appear at the Africa CEO Forum, and so you're here for the 2018 edition as well. So it looks like you're making deals. That's what it means. How are you making deals at this year's event?
We are making deals, but we also want to make sure we are visible to our customers, to our potential customers, and to make sure we've got a solution for customers.